Welcome along to my YouTube channel, Analista de la Liga with me, Terry Gibson. A usual regular weekend preview. All the action coming up in week 29, 10 games to go now. Congratulations to all the La Liga teams that participated in European football this week. All 6 qualified, went through to the next stages. Some big games, big results. Real Madrid with an emphatic 5-1 victory over Manchester City. Atletico Madrid, so lucky, so fortunate to overcome the fantastic Tottenham Hotspur. But all seriousness, Atleti did deserve to go through over the 2 legs, but I'm absolutely delighted that Spurs got a win to try and give them a boost for the relegation campaign ahead, the battle against relegation. So Atletico Madrid, one of those through. Barcelona overcome Newcastle. I did expect that. I didn't expect 7 goals. I always predict over 3 goals for Barcelona at home because they don't disappoint. So the 3 in the Champions League went through. Congratulations to Betis and Celta Vigo. Quite ironic that those 2 teams are responsible, possibly, for La Liga may well have an extra team in the Champions League. So that'd be the 5th place team, which currently is Betis, and 6th is currently Celta Vigo. So that's given them some motivation. Not that they needed it in that competition. And Rayo Vallecano went through in the European Conference League, so congratulations to them. So 6 out of 6 for the La Liga teams. And they're all back in action at the weekend. And starting with Friday night, we have Villarreal against Real Sociedad. A fantastic matchup. 2 good teams, both playing really good football. There's not a lot between these 2, I have to say. And Real Sociedad back to winning ways last week with a 3-1 win over Osasuna. After qualifying for the Copa del Rey final, their form just tailed off a little bit in La Liga. But that was their focus. They're in a final, and now they're probably looking at it and going, hello, 5th place might be up for grabs. They're on 38, Celta 41 in 6, Betis in 5th on 44. So a 6-point gap to make up, but Real Sociedad are flying. And as I say, with 10 games to go, they probably now all of a sudden realise it's not just about a European spot, it's a possible Champions League spot. So I'm going to call this one a draw. I think Villarreal are comfortable in 4th. They'd love to finish in 3rd, but they're so ahead, 55 points. They're 11 points clear of Betis in 5th. So it's a tough one to call because they're both good teams, but I'm going to go for a draw on this one. An entertaining 2-2 on Friday evening to get the goals going and get the fixtures going for the weekend. And on Saturday, we've got one of those 6-pointers. There's lots of them. 8 teams involved, I think, still in the relegation battle. Some, like Rayo and Valencia, are better off than others, but one weekend can turn that around. Rayo at the moment 6 points clear of relegation, but they can turn around. Likewise, Valencia on 32, Sevilla on 31. Mallorca got the win last week, jumped out of relegation zone and put Elche in the bottom 3. Alaves keep continuing to give late goals away, which is their problem. So I'm looking at Elche Mallorca on Saturday, the first game. Mallorca, Di Michele's got his first win last week. Really good win against Espanyol. They were lucky not to get a win the week before as well. So there's an improvement there. And there should be. It's a decent squad of players. And I'm going to go for the away victory in this one. Because I think that Sarabia, the coach of Elche, is slightly guilty of looking over style rather than substance, and they've got to start knuckling down. They've got to start winning some games. They've got to start picking up points. It's 11 without a win now, and I just feel the way they're playing against Real Madrid, they had more possession than Real Madrid last week and lost 4-1, and they ended up playing against 5 or 6 under 18 players from Real Madrid. So I was really disappointed. Fantastic first half of the season. They completely lost the plot, tailed off. I don't know if they've got the attitude that they can fight their way out of trouble instead of playing their way out of trouble. We'll wait and see. But I'm predicting a win for Mallorca in that one. Then we go on to Espanyol against Getafe. Espanyol, exactly the same as Elche. 11 games without a win. And it's getting tougher and tougher. And this is going to be tough against the uncompromising Getafe. I hate labelling them with that stereotype. But they are. And they're proud of that. They love being the team that teams don't like playing against. Last week, down to 10 men, almost got a draw away from home against Atletico Madrid. So I'm going to go for a draw in this one. I'm not saying that Getafe outplay Espanyol, but I would make them slight favourites at the moment. But I'm going to go for Espanyol to get a draw. Levante against Oviedo, I'm co-commentating on for the English World Speaking feed. That's on another Saturday game. There's 5 games on Saturday this week because of the international break. There's no Monday night game. So I'm co-commentating on Levante Oviedo, the classic 6-pointer. Both teams have improved under the new managers, Oviedo is third manager of the season. Levante under Luis Castro have got better as well. They've got some work to do. They're trailing. Levante are 5 points off of the safety zone. Oviedo is 7. So it's going to be tough for both of them. I think winner takes all in this game. The last either team needs in this is a draw. Whoever loses is probably out of it. So I think if the team that wins, they give themselves a fighting chance. Now, that can be Oviedo, it'll take them up to 24 points. It can be Levante, who jump up to 26. So I'm going to go for home advantage in this one. Levante, under the new coach, have started to win some games at home. I'm going to take them to get all 3 points in this one. Carlos Espy has been sensational. He's been fantastic since the new manager's given the opportunity. Young, 20-year-old, big, strong striker, been absolutely fabulous, knocking in the goals left, right and centre. Osasuna against Girona, kind of a mid-table battle, to be honest. Osasuna on 34 points, Girona on 34. I would say they're out of the relegation battle, and both of them feasibly could look at putting a good run together in the last 10 games, climbing up the table and perhaps finishing 6th, 7th, 8th, and maybe claiming a European spot. Girona have got good players, Osasuna have got good players. Again, I'm going to go with home advantage in this one. I think Osasuna. Victor Munoz got called up to the Spain squad, fabulous player, signed from Real Madrid, young player, really fast player. He's one of the quickest players in La Liga, and it's not a surprise to see him get called up for the Spain squad. Whether he'll make the World Cup squad, I probably don't think so. But they're looking at options in case Nico Williams is missing through injury. So I'm going to go with home advantage. Just the hustle and bustle and the muscle and the home support of Osasuna, I think, would just be just a touch too much for Girona in this one. Then we go to a real humdinger. Sevilla against Valencia. Sevilla 31 points, 15th. Valencia 14th, 32. Valencia 6 points above the relegation zone. Should be comfortable, but it can turn around quickly. Elche get a win this week, up to 29, and one of these two lose. They're back in trouble. I'm going to go for a home advantage again with Sevilla. Battered last week by Barcelona. Valencia were disappointing, losing 1-0 away from home at Oviedo. And that sums up the away form for Valencia this season. They haven't been good away from home. They have to do better. And then currently they're finding it hard. Mestalla form, I think, keeps them in the division. I think their form in their own stadium will keep them up. But defeating this could be problematic for either team. So I'm going to go for a home victory for Sevilla. Then on Sunday I'm back in action again. Likewise with Barcelona and Rayo. Both teams participating in Europe. Rayo got a 1-1 draw against Barcelona this season at home. They do cause all the big teams problems in their own stadium. Not so successful away from home. I don't see any problems for Barcelona in this one. Rayo played on Thursday night, made a few changes for the game in the Conference League. They got through. And I think it might be a bridge too far from in this particular game. And I think Barcelona, Lewandowski's got his confidence back. Rafinha's got his confidence back. Not sure if Jean Garcia is going to be fit. Chesney might have to play in goal. Eric Garcia definitely missing, but I still think Barcelona too much. So Barcelona top with 70 points. They can't afford to drop points. 4 points above Real Madrid. And there's a big game coming up. We'll touch on that a bit later. So Barca, I think, to get the home win against Rayo Vallecano. Celta against Alaves. 2 games on the trot. Alaves have dropped points because they've conceded ridiculously late goals. Last week it was the 99th minute. Nicolas Pepe got an equaliser. There was 19 minutes added on time in both halves in that game. Quique Sanchez Flores said it was barbaric that so much time is being added onto football games. And it is when you keep conceding. They conceded 2 late goals against Valencia. From a winning position, they ended up losing. They should have got the win last week against Villarreal. And conceded, as I say, the 98th, 99th minutes. Cost them a lot of points. But I think against Celta this week, I think they're going to be determined, pragmatic, well coached, well organised. Celta on the back of a fabulous win against Lyon in midweek. Gets them through in the Europa League. Thursday, Sunday, it's quite an early game on Sunday, not much recovery time. They're not able to rotate now, Celta and Betis in the Europa League, because the stakes are high and the games are tougher. So I'm going to go for Alaves to get a draw in this one. And whether it's enough, it'll take them. They're on 28 points. They're just above the relegation zone. But I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for Athletic against Betis in the next one. Athletic on 35 points now. We're probably looking at European football. Top 5 is going to be out of reach, I think. But now it's all the focus is completely on the 10 remaining games left. Can they score goals? Can they defend better? They have the players to be doing far better than what they are. They shouldn't be languishing in the position they are in the table at the moment. And there is a possibility of putting together a good run of games. Betis might be suffering after a fabulous win against Panathinaikos on Thursday. So I'm actually going to go for the home win in this one. I think Betis are better in their own stadium. Athletic are a team that should be doing better. I'm looking for more goals. So I'm going to go for the home victory in that one. That takes us up to the final game of the weekend, and it's the big one. Fortunately, I'm on that as well. So 3 games for me at the weekend. Levante Oviedo, Barcelona Rayo, and then the Madrid derby. Dreadful news for Real Madrid fans and Real Madrid in general that Thibaut Courtois is going to be missing for 6 to 8 weeks with a torn muscle. So that's a devastating blow. Lunin's a good goalkeeper, but he's not Thibaut Courtois. Thibaut Courtois is a match winner like Mbappe and Bellingham and Vinicius. He's that important. So he makes saves not many other goalkeepers make. He's kept Real Madrid in games. He wins Real Madrid games. So that's a devastating blow. Mbappe, the good news, Mbappe came on in midweek, so I presume he's going to start against Atletico. Bellingham is a question mark, same as Alvaro Carreras. They're telling me that Eder Militao is going to be back shortly after the international break. That's massive news for Real Madrid. So if they can get the win in this one to keep the pressure on Barcelona, and their opponents are going to be interesting this week. Yes, they got beat again away from home against Spurs. And that's why they're not in the title race. 40 points at home, 17 points away. Lost to Spurs again midweek away from home, although they went through. And the question is, what type of team is Simeone going to play? Does he feel he has a better chance of winning, and his team, if he freshens up the team completely again? So Soloff plays up front with Alex Baena. Or do you continue to play with Julian Alvarez and Griezmann? Do you shake up the midfield? Do you shake up the 2 centre-backs? And played a team that only just about won against Getafe last week. Now that team against Getafe last week was filled with players who think they should be playing first team football every single game in all the big important games. So there's 2 teams there for Simeone. Does he feel he has a better chance with fresher players that didn't play all the game against Spurs, or does he go with what he believes is his strongest starting 11? At the moment there's no news coming out and everyone's wondering. I think he'll go with pretty much the team that played against Spurs. There's an international break coming up, so he's not got to worry about a midweek game or a game next week. And he'll probably feel in his opinion, the better players have a better chance of winning this game in the derby than team players that have been rested. Motivation for Real Madrid is obvious. The motivation for Atletico Madrid is obvious. They want to do a double. They won 5-2 against Real Madrid in the first La Liga contest this season. So, and they would love, as all derbies, to derail the title challenge of Real Madrid. So, as I say, there's plenty to look forward to. Great success for the Spanish clubs in European competition. Title race, definitely. Top 4 is probably sewn up. Now, 5th has appeared as a possibility for a Champions League spot. So, Betis, Celta, Real Sociedad, maybe an outside shout for Espanyol if they can find some form again. And 8 teams involved in a relegation battle. So there's so much happening in La Liga for the last 10 games of the season. Join me here on a weekly basis. Join me and John Driscoll on our podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. And try not to take too much notice of my predictions. What do I know? But anyway, have fun. Have a great weekend. Looking forward to the action. Catch you soon.